potentially looks something like this, with this humongous bubble representing one of the fundamental assumptions of modern cosmology. And that by itself is a huge discovery. Currently, this new bubble of pressure coming from radiation that would push a lot of matter away from it. And so even though some particles would try to combine, instead they would actually get repelled, creating these unusual ring-like formations in every direction. But all of this stopped within about 390,000 years.
Kijk, anyway, when I change this one, I change the total dynamic field flow. And then what you see today in your sharing, look, because that is happening on this glass bolt also, from outside.
And served as a kind of a foundation for a lot of different galactic structures that actually should still be visible today, at least in theory. So we technically expect a lot more usual overdensity bump that you're going to see right here on this graph that seems to correspond to a peak at approximately 500 million light years in distance. In other words,
and then I understand that the glass is like similar as the bridge density bridge you are explaining. You see the galaxies, remember? And then if I change, this, I change those interactions too. So I change cosmic resistance. So then those interactions go differently into the translator. You get different translation possibilities, and then they take another position.
BAO, baryon acoustic oscillations, visually represent this concept pretty well. But like a lot of other predictions in cosmology, these ripples actually grow in time because of the expansion of the universe. And so they were most likely much...
And this is what is actually happening. When here it starts shrinking, and we have this motion. I can make it smaller. When here we have shrinking, and it has this motion, it starts pulling and pushing. Then we have particles here going in the other direction, and then they go back to the shell again. And that become the old clouds. That are the Trojans in between this one and this one from this side. This is the upper side is the sun too. And here the upper side is the sun too. It's the other upper side. But actually this is outside our solar system. Just like that is outside our solar system. So then when this one starts feeding up that pool, then you get cosmical coupling on the diffusional rings. They pull together in a new belt. New belt creates new rotational. Then this one becomes weaker because there's more or less negative space pulled in the gravitational countering. Then this one becomes weaker, starts expanding. Here you cannot release enough, so it starts expanding more. And then this motion takes over again, and then it starts so. And then you have here your gravitational countering pushing the sun from the center, and a new one appears next to it in the center, and then those ones is what you saw last week in a similar interaction. Okay, I go on. That is why you also have to see the rings like doing like this. They don't bump, but they are going together and going away, going together, going away, going together, and then a new ring appear, and then that's one. And slowly they take position toward the center and not the other side. So beautiful. That is what is happening here too. So due to, I forgot the name, you showed today, we have this. I take him out, wait. This is too bright. I can make it bigger a little bit. I can see it best on the black dark ground. See? And look what I've put it, now I want to put it back the other side around. It starts oscillating. So I don't put it like this, I put them always the same way back. Then the connection is the same again. So this what you see here, those interactions are also here. Similar. That's why the particles start manifesting from nothing into something for our eyes. Like Moses took water and said, "I make water," and said, sharing how we condition it so everybody could understand. And this is what here is happening. I put them on play, wait a minute.
It's a very intriguing way to measure the expansion of the universe by using what's known as the acoustic scale. Basically, there's a kind of a distance correlation. Modern calculations, today this distance is supposed to be almost 500 million light years. And it was naturally much smaller calculations based on various surveys that were specifically designed to study all of this. And quite a few of these surveys seem to have come to the same conclusion of approximately 500 million light years, once again visible at the best in this graph. And so these unusual peaks and valleys produced by the matter itself are one of the most important predictors of the entire cosmology, and also to some extent prove both the existence of dark energy and the unusual phenomenon known as dark matter.
And actually everything is dark, but in our translation, through the eyes, through the skin, through the interstellar fluids, to the water in the brain, toward the skull, and from the skull toward the liquid, for the synaptic pathways for the brain to act upon it, for our imaginarium to see light. It's not outside, it's inside the observer. Thus everything is black energy and black matter. Only we translate the sensory into light in ourselves.
Cosmological terms, is right in our neighborhood, and something they were definitely not looking for. It was discovered entirely by looking at the data containing densities of various galactic clusters. And turns out that there's definitely some kind of a higher density that seems to appear in a circle, or technically a sphere, that's approximately 1 billion light years in size. And the only explanation for this unusual formation is that it is definitely one of those bows, one of the oscillations produced by the early universe. And since this is the most accurate data so far, at the moment,
only this is the same as this one, only this one is more tensional and intentional, and this one is less the average tension.
That nobody can solve right now. First and foremost, it seems to be much closer than anyone ever anticipated, which already means that the diameter here is around an individual bowl structure that we can identify anywhere in the universe. All of the previous attempts and previous discoveries were mostly based on statistical analysis and just showed us that they exist, but none of them were ever seen as actual structures. Bubble-like structures are actually super important in helping us understand the evolution of the entire universe.
So in a way, you see the sparks dancing? That is actually also what is happening outside the bubble for the motion of the bubbles. And we see a pilot trip, but actually we see the part or state of the principal field flow upon the tensile differential displacements. Then you get potential between two plasma filaments. And plasma filaments don't need to be spherical. They can have every shape, and inside the plasma filament everything happens, and there we have sphericals. And yet all plasma filaments together can be spherical again. See? So if I change this one, if I change the reactors, I change the spark interactions too. The sons are more from each other, so there is less tension inside, in the middle, less differential, and then you get a different way of interacting with the total interacting cosmos upon this set, and then you get different interactions of the cosmic autopilot, and then the particles take position of the new pilot WebUC, and that's beautiful. In the sphere you also have like this cluster, but this cluster is also inside the ring in the center. See? Inside we have it too. You see it? The door knock observation. See? Oh. Also that is similar as that. But this is also similar as the dimensional behavior of the particles due to the same bell, but only on dead strings.
Or these superstructures right next to us. And so hopefully this discovery will help us understand the nature of dark energy, constrain a lot of cosmological parameters, and help us figure out where all of this is headed, and also how all of this started. But exactly what scientists discovered from this, and exactly what this means, we're not going to know for at least some time. This is a brand new discovery. It still has a question mark in its title, meaning that we're still not sure if this is actually real or not, and only time will tell what all.
For us, new discovery, but for creation, one of the oldest breaths to create, to be able to manifest creation. Without this, we cannot create. Beautiful. Okay, I hope it helps. All enjoy being. Bye bye.